Hi friends, very good morning. Welcome to Anu Academy. Welcome to our class. Very good morning friends. Let us start today's class. Today's class we are going to discuss about sliding contact bearings. Okay. So sliding contact bearings usually we will be learning in design of machine members month. So this sliding contact bearings is part of design of machine members one. Sliding contact bearings. So we will start discussing sliding contact bearings. So first we should know what is a bearing, how does a bearing works. So with small definition we should start learning a concept. So a bearing, here we are having the definition of a bearing. Okay, see, a bearing is a machine element which support another moving machine element known as journal. Okay, so here the definition part is saying that a bearing definition is saying that a bearing is a machine element which support another machine element known as journal. Okay, known as journal. So we will be discussing what is a journal and what is a bearing. So again, it permits a relative motion. It permits a relative motion between the contact surfaces of the members while carrying the load. Okay, so its principle is it permits a relative motion between the contact surfaces of the members while carrying the load. Okay, now, so what is happening while it is a relative motion is allowed between the contact surfaces? Friction is taking place here. Okay, so while friction is taking place here, what is happening here, we'll see. Due to the relative motion between the contact surfaces, a certain amount of power is wasted in overcoming frictional resistance. Okay, so while overcoming frictional resistance, what is happening here? Certain amount of power is wasted. Okay, certain amount of power is wasted. And if the rubbing surfaces if the rubbing surfaces are in direct contact, there will be rapid wear. Okay, now there will be rapid wear. So in order to reduce frictional resistance and wear, in some cases, to carry away the heat generated, a layer of fluid may be provided known as lubricant. Okay, so in order to understand the easiest way of this bearing, we should know first its definition, next how a bearing is working. So while it is working, what is happening, how frictional resistance with the frictional resistance, what is happening to the bearing, what is happening to the journal, what is happening to the shaft, like that we have to understand. And how we can reduce, see, we cannot ignore this frictional resistance and we cannot ignore this wear, but we can reduce frictional resistance and wear by providing a lubricant. Okay, so if you are getting a question, you have to write all these things, right? Okay, now we will see the classification of bearings. Okay, now we will see the classification of bearings. Okay, so bearings are classified depending upon the direction of load. Okay, bearings are classified depending upon the direction of load and depending upon the nature of contact. Okay, the classification we can start discussing two types. First is depending upon the direction of load to be supported, and second type is depending upon the nature of contact. So under this, again, two types are there. First is radial bearings and second is thrust bearings. So you have to draw the diagram. So this is the first one of radial bearings. Here you can see the axis of this shaft. Okay, these are the two views of this radial bearings. So this is the axis of the shaft, this is the shaft, right? So here what is happening, this is the shaft, and the load is acting. See, the load acts perpendicular to the direction of motion of the moving element. The load is acting perpendicular to the direction of motion of the moving element. So which is moving here? This is moving. Okay, if this is the shaft, this is moving. Okay, this is the moving, this is moving, and this is the fixed one. Okay, so the shaft is moving and this is the shift, this is the fixed one. So load is always in radial bearings, what is happening, load is perpendicular to the direction of motion of the moving element. So this is the radial bearings. Next, thrust bearing. Here we are having the diagram of this thrust bearing. Okay, so this is the thrust bearings. So you have to write good heading of your classification. And what is the specialty of this thrust bearing? The thrust bearing, the load acts along the axis. See, if the direction of load is changing here, the load acts along the axis. So previous case in the radial bearing, what we have seen, load is perpendicular to the direction of motion. But whereas in thrust bearing, load acts along the axis of the rotation. Load is acting along the axis of the rotation in this thrust bearing. So here we can see this is the moving part. So okay, so thrust means it moves. Okay, once it is under action, it moves, and this shaft is fixed one. Okay, shaft is fixed in this thrust bearing. So depending upon the direction of the load to be supported, so classification of bearings are classified as radial bearings and thrust bearings that we have discussed. Now depending upon, here we will see now, depending upon the nature of contact, so first is sliding contact bearings and second is rolling contact bearings. Okay, first is sliding contact bearings and second is rolling contact bearings. Now we will see the diagram of this sliding contact bearings and rolling contact bearings. So each and every explanation we have to complete our answer with the diagrams, because subject is design of machine members 1. So as it is a design subject, we have to draw these diagrams. So please use your pencils to draw this while you are drawing your diagrams in the form of a presentation. Okay, so we will see now, this is the sliding contact bearings and this is rolling contact bearings. In this sliding contact bearings, we can see this is the shaded one, this is the fixed element and this is the moving element. Okay, this is the circular shape is the moving element and this is the fixed element. Whereas in the rolling contact bearings, we can see this is the fixed element. Okay, and this is the moving element. Okay, this is the moving element, and we can see balls, or these balls are also called as rollers. Okay, these balls are also called as rollers. Okay, so that's all friends for today's class. I think the class is very useful for you. I think you have understood today's class regarding the bearings. If you are having any doubts, please post your doubts in the comments. I will give you a reply. Please subscribe our channel. Please like and share our channel. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching.